17-year-old Alberto Leos had just been hired at his first job. 41-year-old James Huberty had just been fired from his last. Their paths crossed in shocking act of violence number 11, the San Ysidro McDonald's massacre. July 18th, 1984, in the Southern California town of San Ysidro, just 2 miles north of the Mexican border. Local resident James Huberty and his family spent the morning at the nearby San Diego Zoo.
James Huberty had a history of paranoia, and he also collected guns. Guns and mental illness don't mix.
When Huberty left his home later that afternoon, he made a grisly announcement to his wife.
This is a guy who said beforehand, I'm going hunting. Hunting for humans.
Huberty took a duffel bag containing a pistol, a shotgun, and a semi-automatic rifle and got into his battered Mercury Marquis. It was around 4 in the afternoon when he arrived at the McDonald's 2 blocks from his apartment.
He calmly got out of the car and shot a couple of boys who were riding around their bikes. He walked inside the restaurant and just without warning started shooting.
I was working in the back stocking up the freezers, getting ready for the rush hour that comes in. I heard some shots in the front of the McDonald's. That's when I realized that something definitely was wrong.
The assault was methodical and relentless.
He told everyone to get to the ground, just to lay on the floor. Right away he started killing people up front.
Before he was done, Huberty fired more than 300 rounds of ammunition. Those who ran were shot in the back. Those who didn't were shot point blank. At least 4 people were killed outside the restaurant as they tried to escape the carnage. Leos and 3 others hid in a backroom storage area.
They were behind the counter as well with me, and they got scared right away, so they kind of ducked to the ground, and they just stood there motionless while he was out front executing everyone.
As the smoke cleared, Huberty followed the sound of Alberto's sobbing co-workers.
When we looked up, he was just appeared out of nowhere. Right away he started shooting at us.
Alberto and his fellow employees were left for dead.
My friends were with me, they were killed, and I was shot 5 times, and he ran out of ammunition, and he went to the front to reload. I ended up crawling from where we were hiding. I crawled to the back of the McDonald's, I crawled downstairs, and I crawled into a closet.
San Diego police arrived 7 minutes after the shooting started.
We had to assume it was some type of robbery that had gone bad. He came out and walked around shooting. Once he went inside, we could not see him very well. That's why it took so long. We couldn't make entry because we didn't know how many suspects were inside. We were waiting for the rest of the SWAT team to respond.
This was one of the cases where they sat back and said, we need to very quickly have lethal rules of engagement which enable our officers to very quickly take a life to save a life.
From 112 yards away, a police marksman waited patiently for an opening.
Sergeant Chuck Foster, who was up on the roof right across from the McDonald's, was able to catch a glimpse of him walking around in front of the counter area and was able to take that shot, and he took him out with 1 round.
77 minutes of pure death and destruction at a McDonald's, where people go for Happy Meals, for Super Size Me. It's not a place that you expect this type of thing to happen.
When we pulled up on the outside of it and started walking in, you stepped over people that had been shot and had expired that were laying out on the sidewalk.
I saw a couple of children laying outside, unfortunately, near their bikes. They were motionless and trying to fight for their lives.
20 dead. Another 20 lay wounded and bleeding.
You could just see, people laying everywhere, and it was just a matter of trying to figure out who was still alive and who was wounded and who you could care for.
The subsequent investigation revealed the gunman knew he had mental health issues.
The day prior to the attack, the subject had called a mental health facility, a kind of a hotline, and his name had been misspelled, and he didn't receive a return call.
The question is, with a man who was so angry, a man who was going to take matters into his own hands, whether any mental health professional would be able to engage him in any kind of treatment that would make a difference.
Alberto Leos faced a long road to recovery.
I had 5 surgeries to remove the bullets from my arms, my leg, and my stomach. I went through rehab for a year and a half. I saw a psychologist for a year. It took about 10 years after the incident to finally close the last chapter.
3 years after the shooting, Alberto fulfilled his lifelong dream of becoming a police officer.
Every day when I get up and I look myself in the mirror, I see the scars, so it's always a constant reminder, because I'll always have them. But I'm still real grateful that I'm alive and I'm still living out those goals and dreams that I've had since I was a kid.
Coming up on Going Postal, a gunman turns a college campus into a killing field.